Welcome back, Chappelle. All right, welcome back to your last flip leading up to your French Revolution test. Biggest thing about it is we're going to be talking about the end of the Reign of Terror in this, and where this flip ends is going to be the last bit of content that's going to be on your test. This is right about where we left off in class for G period, and that means it's only going to be about like 5 minutes until the end. But go ahead and watch the rest of this flip. I'm going to clip in an older flip that I made to make this really efficient and really good for everybody. But I'll see y'all then. Study hard. Do your study guide. You'll be just fine. Y'all got this. I believe in you. I'll see y'all soon. He's dead now, right? So, now, going forward, though, there were a lot of famous executions that were executed during this period. Charlotte Corday herself, the woman who stabbed, Jean-Paul Marat, who is right here in her, wagon being brought to the guillotine in the background, went willingly to be executed and said it was worth every single thing. Also, Marie Antoinette, that's right, the Queen of France, was actually executed during this entire process as well, after having to watch her son be beaten and tortured by prison guards. They actually placed Marie Antoinette in one cell and then placed her son in another cell that was just at an angle where she could move her head just right and see him, and the guards knew that, and they would beat her son in front of her, knowing that she couldn't do anything about it. And then they also forced her son to go on the stand and say that she had sexually assaulted him, which would be the final stroke in having her executed, right? And apparently Marie Antoinette's last words were not "let them eat cake." She apparently never said that. And if she actually did say that, she would have said "let them eat brioche." But what she actually probably did say was, "I'm sorry," because she stepped on the executioner's foot. And then she was executed in public to a cheering crowd. Her other two children would go off and die as well. The Dauphin of France, the prince that she saw get beaten and stuff like that, died in prison, and then so did one of her daughters. Only one of their children survived this entire revolutionary period. Another famous guy, Lavoisier, that y'all learned about in chemistry, the famous French chemist, he was executed for his role in tax collection before the French Revolution actually occurred. And then one other one, Georges Danton, the guy that works with Robespierre? Yeah, Georges Danton told Robespierre, hey, maybe we should chill out on all the executing. And so Robespierre executed him. Georges Danton was a fury to be contempted with, and what ended up happening is Maximilien Robespierre thought he couldn't trust him anymore, so he had him executed too. And like I said, public executions were considered educational, right? The Committee of Public Safety in total, during the Reign of Terror, arrested over 300,000 people. 10,000 of them probably died in prison, but 17,000 people were officially executed by Robespierre and his cronies, right? Which is crazy. This intensity time could only last a year because what the heck else is going to go on, right? But what ends up happening to bring the Reign of Terror to an end is the most famous execution during the entirety of the Reign of Terror. That person that gets executed that ends the Reign of Terror is Maximilien Robespierre himself, right? Maximilien Robespierre, the guy that everyone in France was afraid of, is the final execution of the Reign of Terror. Reason why is because people hated him. The Reign of Terror was unsustainable. In the long run, you can't sustain it due to the fact that not everybody's going to want to keep seeing all this violence. People got tired of it. They wanted some kind of easiness to the society. They wanted to be able to go about their normal lives in a new revolutionary state rather than having to be worried or freaked out that they could be executed any minute. The very first person executed by guillotine was a highwayman that stole a loaf of bread, right? You're talking about very high punishments for minuscule crimes, right? So the Reign of Terror just couldn't be sustained because not everybody wanted to be a part of it like that. And so a bunch of the people of the National Convention that were Jacobins themselves were like, we can't keep doing this. So Robespierre has to be taken down. And in a crazy event that ended up happening is that Robespierre was arrested, right? And in that event, when he was arrested by these other members, he was declared an outlaw. He got shot in the face, right? So he got shot in the face. Now, what ended up happening is there's two stories to this whole arrest, right? First of all, it was Robespierre and his buddies hanging out in this hotel, and one of them actually leapt out of the window and killed himself and stuff like that. But while Robespierre was being arrested, according to one of the arresting officers, he took a shot at Robespierre, and the bullet went into Robespierre's mouth and then came out the side of his face and knocked a bunch of his teeth out and dislocated his jaw. But according to Robespierre himself, he stuck the gun in his mouth, his own gun, and tried to shoot himself, but his arm got hit, and then the bullet went out the side of his face. And the day that he was executed, he screamed in pain because they took the bandage off that held his jaw in place, and it just went, and he was just like, ah! And before he was actually finally executed, right? But the cops died, the Committee of Public Safety died with Robespierre. and after his death, he was replaced by a 5-man executive branch known as the Directory. The reason why I have the Directory in all capital letters is because you are going to need to know them when you come back. Highlight them, underline them. They're very important in how boring they are. We do not talk about the Directory at all. We don't talk about the 5 guys that are in charge of it, but you just need to know that with the craziness that the Committee of Public Safety ushered in during the Reign of Terror, basically they go to a newest system that's going to be much easier and much more sustainable, right? France chose to focus on war and the changes gained by the revolution under the Directory, but then later on, a guy's going to come in and overthrow that Directory, and his name is the Napoleon Bonaparte. And we will talk about the Napoleonic phase of the revolution when y'all get back from break. I'll see y'all soon. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your break. Happy Mardi Gras. Y'all have a good one.